The check is real, and millions of Social Security recipients are about to receive $1,400 directly deposited into their accounts. But here's what the SSA isn't broadcasting loudly enough. Not every recipient qualifies automatically, and the window to confirm your eligibility is narrower than most people realize. If you're currently receiving Social Security Retirement Benefits, SSI or SSDI, this update changes your financial picture for the rest of this year. The SSA has officially confirmed a new round of $2,400 payments tied to recent federal adjustments, and it's specifically structured for recipients who meet certain income thresholds and benefit categories. What's tricky is that thousands of seniors are missing these payments simply because they don't know the exact qualification criteria or haven't verified their direct deposit information with the SSA. In the next few minutes, I'm walking you through exactly who qualifies, what dates to circle on your calendar, and the one step you must take right now to make sure that money lands in your account, not someone else's. So let's get right into it, because this is important and you deserve the full picture, not the watered-down version, not the headline with no explanation, but the actual details that help you understand what's happening with your Social Security benefits right now in 2025. First, let's talk about where this $1,400 payment is actually coming from, because a lot of people are seeing the number and assuming it's connected to the old stimulus checks from a few years back. It is not. This is an entirely different situation. What's happening right now is tied to a combination of federal legislative adjustments and SSA administrative updates that have been quietly rolling out over the past several months. The Social Security Administration has been working through a backlog of payment recalculations, cost of living adjustments, and eligibility reassessments that were triggered by changes in federal poverty guidelines and inflation metrics. When those recalculations happen, some recipients end up with back payments or supplemental deposits that can reach up to $400 depending on their specific benefit history and current payment tier. So this is not a random bonus. This is money that in many cases was already owed to recipients but hadn't been properly processed or distributed yet. Now here is where it gets really important for you personally. The people who are most likely to receive this payment fall into three main categories. The first group is Social Security Retirement Benefit recipients who have been receiving benefits for more than 12 months and who fall within a specific monthly benefit range that was flagged for recalculation. The second group is SSI recipients. That stands for Supplemental Security Income, who are living on fixed low incomes and whose benefit levels were reviewed as part of the Federal Poverty Threshold update. The third group is SSDI recipients, Social Security Disability Insurance, who have gone through a continuing disability review in the past year and whose payment amounts were adjusted as a result. If you fall into any of these three categories, you are in the pool of people who could be receiving this $2,400 payment, but there are additional steps you need to understand before you assume the money is automatically coming your way. Let's talk about the SSI situation specifically, because this group often gets the least attention, and honestly, they need the most accurate information. SSI recipients are among the most financially vulnerable Americans, and the federal government has been under enormous pressure to address the fact that SSI benefit amounts have not kept pace with the actual cost of living in most parts of the country. The maximum federal SSI benefit for an individual in 2025 is $943 per month, and for a couple, it's $1,215 per month. Now, those numbers might sound like they've gone up slightly from previous years, and they have, but the key issue is that millions of SSI recipients have been receiving less than the maximum because of how the SSA counts income and resources. When the SSA recently did a wide-scale review of SSI accounts, many recipients were found to have been underpaid for months or even years due to outdated income calculations, unreported cost of living adjustments, or administrative errors on the SSA's side. Those underpayments are now being corrected, and for some people, the corrected amount comes out to right around that $1,400 figure when you add up the months of back payments owed. Now, for SSDI recipients, the situation is a little different, but equally important to understand. SSDI payments are based on your work history and the Social Security credits you earned before becoming disabled. Unlike SSI, SSDI is not means tested, which means your income and resources don't directly affect your benefit amount in the same way. However, SSDI recipients are subject to periodic continuing disability reviews. And when those reviews happen, sometimes the SSA discovers that a recipient's payment amount was being calculated incorrectly. Maybe your record showed fewer work credits than you actually earned. Maybe a period of employment wasn't properly credited to your Social Security record. Maybe there was an error in how your average indexed monthly earnings were calculated when you first applied for SSDI. Any of these issues can result in a payment adjustment, and when that adjustment is applied retroactively, which the SSA is required to do in most cases, the back payment can add up to a significant lump sum. That lump sum, for many SSDI recipients going through this correction process right now, is landing at or near that $1,400 amount. For Social Security retirement benefit recipients, the story is again slightly different, but just as relevant. The 2025 COLA, that's the cost of living adjustment, came in at 2.5%. Now, a 2.5% increase sounds modest, but when you apply it to certain benefit levels and you also factor in any Medicare premium adjustments that were made at the same time, some recipients end up with a net change in their monthly benefit that triggers a recalculation of past payments. Additionally, the SSA has been working through a specific program this year where they are proactively identifying retirement benefit recipients who may have been eligible for a higher benefit amount due to a spousal benefit they never claimed or a survivor benefit that should have been applied to their record but wasn't. When those missed benefits are identified and corrected, again, back payments kick in, and those back payments are showing up as one-time deposits that in many cases are right around that $1,400 range. Now, you might be wondering, okay, this sounds like it could apply to me, but how do I actually know if I'm one of the people getting this payment? The most direct answer is that you need to check your My Social Security account online. If you don't have one set up yet, you can create one at ssa.gov, and it takes about 10 minutes. Once you're logged in, you can see your current benefit status, any pending payment adjustments, and whether there are any notices or alerts attached to your account. The SSA is required to send written notice before making any payment changes, so if a $400 adjustment is coming your way, there should already be a notice either in your online account or in your physical mailbox. If you haven't seen a notice but you think you might qualify based on what we've been talking about, don't just wait. Call the SSA directly at 1-800-772-1213. That line is open Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. local time, and you can speak with a representative who can pull up your account and tell you exactly what's happening with your payments. Here is something that doesn't get talked about enough, and it's critically important. There are scammers out there, and I mean a lot of them, who are specifically targeting seniors right now with fake messages claiming to be from the SSA, telling them they need to verify their information to receive this $1,400 payment. These scammers are sending text messages, making phone calls, and even sending fake letters that look almost exactly like official SSA correspondence. The real SSA will never call you out of the blue and ask you to confirm your Social Security number, your bank account information, or any personal details over the phone. The real SSA will never ask you to pay a fee to receive your benefits. The real SSA will never tell you that your benefits will be suspended unless you call a specific number immediately. If you receive any communication like that, hang up, throw it away, or delete it. And then if you're worried, call the official SSA number yourself, 1-800-772-1213, and verify directly. Now, let's talk about timing, because one of the most common questions people have is when exactly these payments are being sent out. The SSA distributes Social Security payments on a set schedule that's based on your birth date. If your birthday falls on the 1st through the 10th of the month, your regular payment comes on the second Wednesday of each month. If your birthday falls on the 11th through the 20th, your payment comes on the third Wednesday. If your birthday falls on the 21st through the 31st, your payment comes on the fourth Wednesday. SSI payments, on the other hand, are typically sent on the first of the month. Now, when it comes to these supplemental or corrective payments, the $1,400 adjustments we've been discussing, those do not always follow the regular payment schedule. They can arrive as a separate deposit outside of your normal payment date. So don't be alarmed if you see an unexpected deposit in your account. Check your SSA notices first to confirm what it is, and if you're not sure, call and ask. Something else that is really worth understanding is the difference between what happens when the SSA owes you money versus when the SSA says you owe them money, because that second scenario is something thousands of seniors face every year, and it's incredibly stressful. Sometimes the SSA determines that a recipient was overpaid, meaning they received more money than they were entitled to, and then they send a notice demanding repayment. In the past, the SSA had a policy of withholding 100% of your monthly benefit until the overpayment was recovered, which left some seniors with literally nothing for months. There has been a significant policy change around this in recent months. The SSA updated its overpayment recovery rules so that the default withholding rate is now capped at 10% of your monthly benefit rather than the full amount. This is a huge relief for people who were caught in that nightmare situation. If you are currently dealing with an overpayment notice and the SSA is withholding more than 10% of your benefit, you have the right to request a rate reduction, and you should do that immediately by contacting your local SSA office. Let's also take a moment to talk about something that affects a surprisingly large number of seniors: the windfall elimination provision and the government pension offset. These two rules have historically reduced Social Security benefits for people who also receive a pension from a job that didn't withhold Social Security taxes, like certain government or public school positions. Congress has been actively debating changes to these provisions, and in late 2024, significant legislative movement happened that directly affects retirees who had their benefits reduced under these rules. If you or your spouse worked in a position covered by a government pension and your Social Security benefit was reduced because of WEP or GPO, you need to be paying very close attention right now, because there are potential retroactive adjustments in play that could mean a substantial increase to your monthly benefit going forward, and possibly a back payment that covers the period during which the old rules were in effect. There is also an update worth discussing around Medicare and how it interacts with your Social Security payment. Most people who receive Social Security and are enrolled in Medicare Part B have their Part B premium automatically deducted from their Social Security check. In 2025, the standard Part B premium increased, which means your net Social Security deposit is slightly lower than it was before the COLA kicked in. For some recipients, the COLA increase was almost entirely eaten up by the higher Part B premium, leaving them with only a few extra dollars per month. This is a frustration that has been heard loudly by senior advocacy groups, and there are ongoing discussions in Congress about creating a hold harmless provision that would prevent Medicare premiums from wiping out COLA increases for low-income beneficiaries. If you are in that situation where your COLA basically disappeared because of the premium increase, document it and reach out to your congressional representative, because this is an issue that is actively being lobbied on right now. One more thing that is incredibly valuable to know, and this is something that the SSA doesn't advertise enough, is the concept of Social Security benefit optimization. A lot of seniors, particularly those who claimed benefits early at age 62, may not realize that there are limited circumstances under which you can actually withdraw your benefit application and refile later to get a higher monthly amount. Additionally, if you are between full retirement age and age 70 and you are still working or have other income, you may want to look into whether suspending your benefit temporarily and letting it grow could result in a significantly higher monthly check when you resume. These are decisions that need to be made carefully and with full information, and ideally with the help of a financial counselor who specializes in Social Security planning. But the core message is, your benefit amount is not necessarily fixed forever just because you started receiving it. There are options, and you should know they exist. The bottom line here is this: the Social Security system is more dynamic than most people realize. And right now in 2025, there are more changes, corrections, and adjustments happening simultaneously than at almost any point in recent memory. The $1,400 figure that brought you to this video is real, it is legitimate, and it is affecting hundreds of thousands of recipients right now. But the most important thing you can do is not sit back and wait passively. Log into your SSA account, review your notices, check your payment history for any discrepancies, and if something doesn't look right, or if you believe you should be receiving an adjustment that hasn't shown up yet, pick up the phone and call. You have earned these benefits. You paid into this system your entire working life, and you deserve to receive every single dollar that belongs to you, accurately, on time, and without having to fight for it.